Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Let's look at another telepathic remote viewing training tool. And it's one of those simple things out there. I have this in my actual occult gym book of how you can actually use simple tools like this. And if you think these are strange, hey, you're looking at toys. Well, this is exactly what all of the parapsychology institutes, the Princeton School of Engineering, SRI, and other things, they used a lot of similar tools like this to train people in remote viewing and other things. Using fun tools, using tools in general, getting things out of just the bio-mental process is critically important. You need something to hold on to. You need something to focus on. And if there's nothing there, your entire process becomes very difficult. I mean, we are a race of wanting to produce something. We're very physical. We want to grab and touch, and that's part of the entire process. Now, why not use all your senses when you're trying to do higher capacity functioning instead of just depending upon what would be kind of stupid? But of course, when you go to moron institutes of technology and SRI and other places, these people aren't very bright. So the whole idea is they don't really understand how to train people. A lot of them have little lights flashing and other things, kind of very primitive stuff, which is, they just don't understand. They're egghead teachers and professors, and as such, they have to get out of their own way because they keep stepping on their own feet, because they're just, they don't understand all the processes. You may be good at some sort of mumbo jumbo scientific garbage, but that doesn't mean you're good at the psychic sciences, the biophysical, and it doesn't mean you're good at teaching it, and it doesn't mean you're good at any kind of engineering to make something. And I'm always amazed at how so many basic toys are based on what is telepathy and remote sensing. It's amazing. So here we get is your typical little Battleship game, which comes with, and this is a travel edition. This is what, 6 inches here by 5 or so. So you can put these anywhere. And they're relatively inexpensive. And what you do with something like this is that you would be actually having somebody set this up for you. Let's see how this goes. So you would set that up for it. So if you wanted to find a particular, let's pull some of these apart. Here's your, I guess this is the actual battleship. We have to take these parts apart. And for some reason, these are fairly well. And of course, what you do, as in Battleship, if you don't understand, they all come again. Is that, but basically, you want to put this Battleship in a place that to actually set it on the kind of board here, and it just presses down in here. And this is what you, not seeing, would want to seek. So basically, you'd have somebody else do this. Now, you could just do this by yourself as well, because we know how helpful everybody is. You could just go in here, don't pay attention to anything, just stick it on here. And then, I don't know. You think you know, and if you're cheating yourself by saying, oh, it's down lower, well, it's got to be in that area. Yeah, and of course, you get your regular, when you get something like this, there's the regular Battleship game. And of course, if you have somebody who likes Battleship, you could do this in a much better fashion, meaning they would place their ships like here. And of course, we have this in a D4 is the first one, is that you would use this as a telepathy projection. So instead of sending like they do with ESP cards, sending squares, star. Oh, I'm sorry, I passed out because it's so boring. If you want to use stupid cards like that, your consciousness is going to exit stage right. Very quickly, it's just going to turn you off. It's boring. And if you bore your higher self, it is going to run. So the whole idea is that you want to then project to the person you're with here, D4. So, and you concentrate on that, and the person receiving it, which will be over here, He's going to then look at his board and try and get the signals from you. And he's going to try and sense that. Now, it can be very difficult to start off with. And one of the important things to do with all psychic practices or biophysical training is to make it easy initially and then make it harder. Now, if your consciousness continues to fail, it will exit stage right. So if it continues not to be successful, it's going to be bored and lose as well. So you got to define these things. What you probably want to do with your, is you're going to say you're going to work with the first 5 up to E here. And you're going to then put these things in certain areas, okay? And you want to make it easy. Success breeds success. If everything is, no, you missed, no, that's not right, you're just going to, oh, fuck it. You're just going to walk away from it. That's not what you want to do. As a matter of fact, you want the opposite to do. You want to make it so easy that you constantly get it right. Then you want to expand upon it. So if you use the first 5 here and people are getting, you put a lot of ships in here and they get it right, then you're going to go, well, we're going to go up to 7. Yeah, it's getting a little harder. And then you're going to keep expanding from there as the person, you increase the difficulty of the situation. Okay? That's the way it works properly. But this is a travel game, which to some extent is good as well if you did want to move around. Of course, there's times when you're bored. There's times when, of course, you have time, maybe on an airplane, maybe waiting for something, maybe you're traveling. But in general, this is something you can stick almost anywhere. It's very, they're very compact. These can be stuck with your energy discs and other things. I mean, you can put all these together. You do need 2 of them. These can be a problem doing on your own. There are some tricks you can do. As you said, you could set up all the boats on here. A lot of them, put them all there. And you can do this with a sleeping mask on. Just press them in. Then when you're done with it, you put it like this. Okay? Now, it is difficult. Then you can remote view. Well, you're going to remote view this in your mind. Can you see where the ships are placed on there? And then you're going to take the pegs and you're going to place them in here of where you think they are. And again, you don't want to think, you don't want to guess, you want to sense where they're at. And then you put the pegs in. And maybe you want to give yourself 10 pegs to hit certain boats, etc. And again, don't guess. You're trying to sense. Okay? It's very easy, and it's something you're going to have to work on not doing is guessing. Because the minute your mind is cutting in there, it's going to say, guess, 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 guess. Well, that's your trash mind telling you to do it wrong. What you want to do is give it to your consciousness, saying, consciousness, find that. So then you start remote viewing where those are. Okay? And as such, you want to then put pegs in here. And as I said, you can maybe give yourself 10 pegs and see if you got any of those right. You put the 10 pegs in here, and then you compare it to where the ships are here. And this is a way to do it yourself. You could have somebody place the ships for you on here. Then they bring you this. And you don't even really have to open it up. Somebody could put the ships on there for you. You can leave it like this. Then you're going to sense it again, what's in there. And then you're going to put your pegs on where you think. So there's lots of variants you can do to make sure you're not cheating. And you make sure that you're not actually tricking yourself, because it's so easy to do that. You want to be right, you want to do this, etc. And again, you can do the same thing by putting them in limited areas. So let's say it was in the first 5 here, and you put all these ships here. Well, it's going to be easy to hit them, kinda. But the point is you do want to make it easy, and then you want to have 10 pegs, and out of those 10 pegs, how many hits did you get? Then you expand it to make it more difficult. Success is very important. It's very good that you should start off being very successful, and you should end with what your mind, your consciousness sees is that, yeah, I got that in the end. Very important, because your mind is interacting with your consciousness and disabling it. Secondly, your consciousness doesn't like to be baffled. It doesn't like it. That's why it works on higher realms. So if you're constantly wrong and the consciousness sees that it's not working, it just won't do it anymore. So we all have to keep that in mind of how these works. And there's many variations. Maybe you can think of some of your own variations. But this is another way to do it. You could also, if you wanted to, you can ask, where is the ship, using a pendulum. Is it in C6? And then you put it here, is it C6? And you would ask that. And it would give you a particular reading. Well, this is saying it's not C6. Counterclockwise, no. Clockwise, yesy. So there's lots of ways to do it. You can use it as a pendulum trainer. I mean, there's endless ways of using fun, simple things like this instead of using some boring. Now, you got to remember that books and other things written out there by pseudo-psychic people who think that anybody can do it easily, you know, those idiots that talk like that, those are people to stay away from. Anybody can do it. Well, here's a retarded guy. Can he do it? Well, I didn't say that. Here's a Texan. He can't do it either. Well, there are problems here. So we do have to understand all these things and understand the bigger picture here. So you have to train with good people. You have to know what's going on, and you need constant guidance and reaffirming. And you should be communicating with and getting assistance from someone who knows what they're talking about, which particularly this time is only me. But the bottom line is that reading a bunch of books from random people, which you should be able to get free or very low cost online, generally tends to confuse people. But it may be helpful, but don't pay for that kind of information. You can join Kindle Unlimited for $11 a month, and you can basically get 100 books on dowsing, etc. for basically, you're talking about free. It's really a service free, and you can read all these things. You don't need to spend money and buy books and take courses from other people. The only people putting out quality information, which will give you a different view of it, teach you how to do it in a particular way, and get you interactive like this, is myself. So do keep that in mind, and here you go, some great tools. These are fun. They're small. You can carry these anywhere. You don't need the big older type oftentimes, and you don't even really need a new one. Buy a used one for under $10. If you want to buy these that cost more money, well, you certainly can do that as well. But the whole idea is buy it cheap, buy it inexpensive, use it as a tool, and then move on from there. But you can teach yourself remote viewing. You can teach yourself dowsing. You can teach yourself telepathy. I mean, it's unlimited with basically a $20 tool or less. As he said, buy them used, people. There's nothing special. If it's missing pins and everything else, it doesn't matter. You're not playing the full game. Of course, you got to make sure you have boats. But other than that, and you having the two things here, don't worry about it. And you can use anything there. But most of the time, you'll find these things are fairly complete. Nice thing about these, as like with all Battleship games, is they give you room on each side here that you can store your ships and store your pegs. And of course, this is a nice little plastic tool here that you can carry with you. And again, having two of these are important. So if you're traveling with somebody, it's a great way to do something to stimulate the mind, something interesting other than the crap whatever the crap people do. It's also a good idea if you can and you have enough energy, you may have a lot of waiting time. You may need something to keep you busy. Should you read garbage? I like to read them romance novels, Dr. Thor. Well, that's why your brain is full of poo. That's why you can't even figure out how to tie your shoes, and you vote Republican. So there is a problem, and probably live in Texas. So the whole idea is that we have to keep all that in mind as well. So do something in your life that does something for you, even if, and again, doing stuff for short periods of time is what I always recommend. So it doesn't mean that you can't read that crap, but make sure you do something where your mind is focused as well. And you'll see how clarity life becomes, how things work better for you, and how you're able to use tools to a much higher level. So do keep that in mind, and here's just one of many. We have lots of other tools that we have demonstrated. Make sure that you have a variety of tools, because if you don't have a variety of tools, it gets boring as well. So when you're at home, you can use this and other things I've shown you. And of course, we have visualization tools and things as well. All of this helps the process of keeping your consciousness entertained, happy. And if your consciousness is entertained and happy, it will produce miracles for you. Until next time.